Oh,
Back to Dynamite. Who did work for Tony?
Actually, we were up to MJF's working at that point when he came to the ring to almost silence. It's come to this. Eddie did the promo. Geriatric Jeff Jarrett just had to stay out of his way, but he wouldn't. So he got taught a lesson that this was not all elderly wrestling. But now with Jeff Jarrett out of the way, it's time to get the big burgundy balloon, or what, the triple B back. What was the big buffoonery belt? I don't know. The triple B, he wants his belt back. He's like El Gigante. He wants the belt.
I want the belt.
Nobody.
I want the belt.
I love the belt. I want the belt. And he started to say, because nobody is on the level of the devil. And Max Caster hits the ring and scares MJF from behind. Like, what the fuck? And he's hiding behind MJF while MJF is screaming at him, get out of my ring. What are you doing? Remember when Caster was running from, hold on,
Adam Page, Hangman.
Adam Page, but I'm just trying to, however far back, it was like fucking 30, 40 minutes ago. He's had time to run to fucking Marietta on foot, but he's just made it to the middle of the ring in a live national television show to try to get away from somebody that's chasing him. Let that sink in for a second.
Who he's bigger than. I actually would put money on Max Caster against Adam Page in a fight.
I don't know if I'd put money on either one of these fucking clowns at this point. Unless they were valet parking my car.
Certainly not in a race.
And then they play Adam Page's music. So apparently he chased Caster all the way to the goddamn gorilla position and then said, but wait, I can't follow unless you play my music. And he gets in the ring and gets nose to nose with MJF, and they exchange dirty looks. And then he goes out the other side and through the crowd after Caster. And then MJF starts picking back up with his promo. But now the fans are chanting, shut the fuck up. And they're bleeping or trying to bleep fuck when it comes up every 4 or 5 seconds or whatever it is. And he says, ain't nobody on the level. And Dustin Rhodes' music plays. And out comes Dustin to the ring with a microphone. And Dustin cut a hell of a fucking promo. It was at the end of this inanity, so I'm not sure whether anybody was still paying attention, but he told MJF off. He said, shut up. Look me in my eyes, you son of a bitch. You talked about Owen Hart. You've talked about people's wives. You've talked about people's drug problems. I was one of them that had drug problems. But I'm 16 years clean and sober. I crawled out of hell, Max, and you're not the devil. I'm better than you, and your bitch-ass frickin' knows it. And the people started chanting, Dustin, Dustin, because at least it was something to listen to, right? And then MJF starts answering, and I'm thinking, oh, no. And he starts making fun of it, and I'm thinking, that was too good. It was almost too good to have responded to without them just getting in a fight, and it was definitely too good to respond in a smirking fashion, too, because it just didn't. Did you feel a gear shift that wasn't called for there when Dustin was finished and MJF started again?
I mean, that's kind of what I expected here, but I see your point, and I don't disagree. I mean, it would have been, I don't know how you would have left it there. Would MJF have just left the ring?
Well, no, I mean, at some point, they either need to get physical or need to get separated or something, or some point needs to be made to get them away from each other. But MJF had to call Dustin a worthless drug addict and tear Dustin down. He's been living in daddy's shadow. And now he's in the shadow of you're in the shadow of your widow baby. And he's going to say, brother. And that's when Dustin nailed him. They have to go back and forth so long saying such horrible things to each other, and that your intensity with the people can only stay up so long but nevertheless, there comes the security, there comes the fight, the pull apart. And it was the best promo exchange that MJF has had in a while. And as they get them separated, then MJF runs back in and knees Dustin in the balls. And that's where, but has it come to this that we want to see MJF against Dustin Rhodes, but it's more appealing than a lot of this shit.
I wish they had gone to Dustin instead of Jeff Jarrett. I think this exposed the Jeff Jarrett debacle. Dustin's all emotion. Like, there's nothing he could say that you don't just believe it's like completely emotional. And he has fire. Jeff was out there with like it was like monotone. It was like his dad saying it, these awful things to MJF.
Yeah, except when he tried to be Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, that didn't work at all either. But Dustin, I mean, he immediately gets the crowd into it. You could argue that Dustin's been underused, misused, however you want to put it, for a while. He's currently one of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions with Sammy Guevara. Why aren't they on this show? They're wrestling on a show and no TV show? Why aren't they on this show? Dustin Rhodes is still a name. Rhodes means something. On that topic, I want to ask you about a Twitter exchange, I should say. Jimmy Corderas, the referee.
Yes, longtime referee for the WWF/E and etc.
He tweeted out the other night, I don't have the exact time, "Great job, MJF, of reminding your audience about the man who was on top in the other company." To which MJF responded, "His brother, my mentor, a guy who helped shape me early in my career. Your old boss brainwashed you into believing we need to treat the fans like morons and pretend other wrestling companies don't exist. You dumb, ignorant, bald, grifting fuck."
Well, Jesus Christ.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, MJF.
So where do you fall on that argument? You can't ignore that Dustin's Cody's brother. I mean, that was one of the highlights of early AEW before they even had TV. Do you think it's bad form to talk about the WWE champion, one of the biggest stars in the industry, who's not going to be here anytime soon? Or do you think it works because of the history? Where do you fall on this?
Well, everybody knows who everybody is here in this, but what I was saying is, here's another point. The point where Dustin nailed MJF was when you're in the shadow of your widow, baby, and he didn't get to say brother. But that's worse than being in your father's shadow with Dusty having passed away and "don't you put my father's name in your mouth" type of thing. I just thought it was bad. And I think that with what Dustin had told MJF, the thing maybe for MJF to do, being a heel, was when Dustin had said, "I'm better than you and you know it, so or your punk bitch ass frickin' knows it," or whatever. Let MJF look like he's trying to cower down for a second, and then knee him in the balls. He's a heel. Did he have to come back with that material? And is it worse that Dustin is in the shadow? Could MJF beforehand have said, "You've never been as good as your brother, and now look at him and look at you. Don't talk about my brother. My brother's younger, my brother's more successful, and I love my brother. Well, what about your father?" And then there's different ways you could have constructed this where you don't have to hide that Cody is Dustin's brother.
I believe you have a mother, too.
Yes, and I believe, from what I understand, that someone comes over and cuts your grass once or twice a week.
From what I understand, you have other family.
Yes, there's people all over your home. It's constructed in an odd and unwieldy, and there wasn't a lot of flow to it. Dustin was fantastic.
Do you think...
That's what I thought.
What do you do about MJF right now? Because obviously he's at a point where it's almost like no matter what he does, he's kind of stuck in a trap. And he had been off TV for a while. The Jeff Jarrett thing did not work out however anyone thought it was going to work out. And the Adam Cole thing went on too long. And There's certainly a cooling off from the AEW fan base. What do you do?
I don't know. I really do not know, because nobody that has ever been that over with a fan base has suffered through this kind of booking for the past 2 fucking years, back and forth. There's a babyface, he's a heel. The last thing that was working was him and Adam Cole and the kangaroo kick. But is part of the reason he hadn't been able to come back from it because the kangaroo kick, was that like the jumping the shark? Was that his Fonzie moment? The whole bro chacho thing?
I don't think so, because at the time it was working, but I think the brochacho thing never ending. Well past the point where anyone wanted to see any of it or any of these people interact together ever again. I think that's the issue. There was a point where everyone was ready for MJF to kind of move on and do other things. And he got dragged back into that shit with Adam Cole for way too long.
Purgatory.
It did irreparable damage, I think, at this point. I shouldn't say irreparable, though. Time could always heal things. Another contract in another company can always heal things.
That's what we're waiting on right now, honestly, is I think, at some point, however long it takes, when he signs another contract with another company, that's when, because I don't know what they can do in this environment with the people they have access to do anything about this.
See, I think maybe some of these things with MJF, it would be a nice change of pace if they just got to it. If Dustin had hit the ring and within a minute just explained why he's fed up with MJF and what he's sick of hearing, and then it just went to action, or like you said, guys hit the ring and broke them up, it would leave you wanting to hear what the fuck's going to happen next week. Why did that happen so quick? What was said? It would leave you wanting more. I think some of these MJF segments have to leave you wanting more.
What about if MJF was just talking about somebody in the ring one night, and all of a sudden when he got to a certain point, that person just wandered out and headed to the ring, and MJF looked like, what the fuck? And the guy came in and said, no, I said, don't fucking say that. We sat back there and talked for 20 fucking minutes. I said, don't say that about my Aunt Susie. Fuck you. And they get in a fist fight. And then the story is MJF has gone too far. This guy's mad because Aunt Susie was supposed to be off limits, and they make a fucking promo, or they make an angle out of the goddamn promo becoming a shoot.
Yeah, see, MJF has to get to someone who's not going to stand in the corner and listen to the insults.
Fuck, if I wanted to stand mute and be insulted and browbeaten and called names, I didn't have to leave my own home. So what the fuck? They all do it.
Of course, Jim, they all do it. And what they all do...
Birds do it. Bees do it.
No.
Even the flowers in the trees do it.
I think if you look at an athlete like an MJF, or perhaps a Hurt Syndicate, or anyone else who looks like they lift weights in that company, protein is a key component of a weightlifter's lifestyle. I don't know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we all need protein. All of us.
If you try to take care of yourself, if you want to make your flabby body look better, if you want to be, a fucking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed type of individual, you need the proper nutrients and the calories and the proteins and all that stuff. You don't need the sugar and the carbs and the dreck and the processedness that they put in the foods and the drinks today, Brian, is what you're trying to say, aren't you?
There was an attempt. We all heard the attempt.
There was an attempt there.
Yes, that's right.
Well, and like the Hurt Syndicate, they consume a lot of protein. And I told you, Shelton Benjamin in his younger days, he could go to McDonald's and do the Big Mac and not work out. And he would but now, even he has to occasionally pick up a weight or watch his diet. And folks, all of you out there in the cult of Cornette and our various vast audience around the globe, well, look at the state of you guys. Holy shit, I've seen pictures of some of you, and you need fucking help. So the first thing you need to do is put down the chocolate milkshake and pick up an incredibly delicious and wonderfully tasting good for you Orgain 30-gram protein shake, because They got 30 grams of protein and less than 1 gram of sugar. That's right. So you get all of the good stuff and none of the bad stuff. And as we mentioned, it tastes just like a chocolate milkshake without the ice cream, but you can add that. But that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, there's no reason to add ice cream to the wonderful, delicious protein mix that is Orgain.
Well, what if you were talking to Colonel Sanders and you said there's no reason to add a pressure cooker to chicken? There'd be no KFC now and people wouldn't be fat and diabetic and need protein shakes. But this is not one of those protein shakes that tastes like a man eating Fremunda cheese in a septic tank of a slaughterhouse, or it's not one of those chalky type of protein powders that you mix up. It comes right in its own little container there. And you just pop the top on it. Well, what is this? That it isn't plastic. It's a carton-like container filled with a liquid.
It is, and the liquid is in there. I suggest chilling it, put it in the fridge. That's what I do, and every morning.
Oh, well, yeah, we can't live like savages. You got to keep it cold.
I pop one of those after I work out. I feel great. My muscles feel great, and I'm ready for the day, ready with Orgain wonderful chocolatey protein.
Yes, and they also have the protein powders and bars and shakes and tons of other nutritional products. But of course, since I'm not working out, I just go straight for the shot. Boom, take that. Well, there you go. And I've worked out for the day. But if you want more protein, folks, because after all, we're talking premium ultra filtered protein with all 9 essential amino acids involved. So you can aid in your muscle support and recovery and maintaining your healthy lifestyle. 30-gram protein shakes. Go to Orgain, ORGAIN.com/Jim and use the code JIM, 30% off your order. So if you order 10 of them, then you're getting 3 of them for absolutely free. Or if you order 20, you're getting 6 or 30. If you order 1,000, my God, you're going to save enough money to pay off your house. So right now, Orgain.com/Jim, use the code JIM for 30% off your order. And all of the various parts of your body that likes protein will thank you for that.
Your body will thank you, as will we. Orgain, a wonderful friend of the show. Wonderful because it's delicious and I love it. Jim, one more time, what's that promo code?
Orgain.com/Jim. Use the code JIM, 30% off.